Hello everyone, this is MC Deck Discussions and I'm OhBSmall, and today we have another playthrough for the tournament. We are now in round 3 and this is the first game of round 3, and I have chosen Psylocke, another Psylocke deck. We must choose a different aspect each time. We choose the same hero though. So this time it'll be Justice. The first time was in Leadership. Right, let me flip back over. And we're going up this week against Ebony Maw. And let's go, and I'll have timestamps as usual. So I'll show the setup for Ebony Maw, then I'll share the deck briefly, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the game. So let's get going. All right, so first of all, well, there's nothing on this setup side. So flip it over. On the main scheme, when revealed, each player discards cards from the top of the encounter deck until a spell environment is discarded and puts it into play in their play area. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. So that first card is right here, Rubble Storm. You can see it's a spell, an environment spell. And we'll read the details later, but the main thing is that right now that it enters play with 3 invocation counters on it. Then we get to Ebony Maw, who has this Forced Interrupt. When Ebony Maw activates against you, remove an invocation counter from each spell card in your play. So that's whether he attacks or thwarts, or schemes. But then this part happens right now. When revealed, each player discards cards from the top of the encounter deck until they discard a spell card and puts that card into play in their play area. And you can see that one here, Manipulation, and again, an environment spell, and it has 2 invocation counters on it. And then these are the other cards that got discarded when this card, came out. These 2 cards over here were the ones that were discarded. All right, so we'll keep the order there. Okay, that's it for that part of the setup. And then I might as well go over the alter ego setup here for Betsy Braddock. 3 recovery, mutant, and psionic traits. And then has this psionic manifestation, which is part of the setup. Put your 2 psi energy upgrades into play, psi knife side face up. And you can see those both right here. There's one, there's the other. And these are permanent. They have psi energy and weapon traits. Give her a +1 thwart. And then for hero resource, exhaust psi knife, generate a mental resource. You may flip this card. So both of these are identical. And when you flip it, they're also identical on the other side, which is the psi katana side. Psi energy, weapon, and these are restricted on this side. Permanent. And then Psylocke gets, so on the psi katana side, Psylocke gets +1 ATK, and her basic attacks gain piercing. And this is also resource generator. Her hero resource, exhaust psi katana, and then generate a physical resource. You may flip this card. So anytime you use these as resource generators, you can flip them over if you wish. So I'm going to put them back to the psi knife side. All right. And and we do need to know her action here. Exhaust 1 psi energy upgrade. So one of these psi energy upgrades. Shuffle 1 psionic card from your discard pile into your deck. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and share her deck. All right, so it's called Inside and Upside the Head, meaning trying to get, inside, getting inside the villain's heads here and the enemy's heads, and then, but also smacking them upside the head. So let's get to it. We have these allies here. Oh, and if you wish to pause, I'll have a whole separate video for a deck discussion. But if you do wish to pause this and to check out the potential strategies here, and all the rest of this, including my draft picks for the limited environment, you can check that out. But also I'll have the link to this deck in the deck description. It's not a public deck, it's not published, but as long as you have the link, you'll be able to click on it and check it out. All right, so for the allies, we have Angel, Beak, Deadpool, Forge, Marvel Girl, Mockingbird, Nick Fury, Professor X, and White Queen. One of the important things about that is 5 of these are actual X-Men cards, and the others are a variety of other things, including like X-Force. And note that Psylocke herself has the Psionic and X-Force traits. That'll be important when we get over here to the supports. Okay. And I might as well read this right now. She's got 10 hit points, hand size of 4 on her hero side, 6 on her alter ego side, 1 attack, 1 thwart, 2 defense, and she has the Psy energy control ability. It's an interrupt. When you use one of Psylocke's basic powers, her attack, thwart, or defense, you can flip one of her Psy energy upgrades to the other side. All right, those are her weapons as a reminder. All right. Okay, and then for the events that we've added to the deck, we have 3 copies of Upside the Head. Has a hero response after your hero makes a basic attack and damages an enemy. Confuse that enemy. If that enemy is already confused, stun it instead. And then for the resources, we have the usual 3 doubles and 2 copies of the Power of the Mind. That doubles the number of resources this card generates while paying for a psionic card. And then for the supports, we have Cerebro, Children of the Atom, Moira McTaggart, 1 copy of Team Building Exercise, Utopia, and X-Mansion. And then for the upgrades, we have Counterintelligence, Endurance, and Float Like a Butterfly. All right, so that's it for the deck. We are, of course, trying to confuse the villain quite a bit here. We want to, and when we can, get them confused so that we can always use Upside the Head and stun them as well. And Mockingbird's in here for that same purpose. All right, and then we'll just leave it at that, and we'll let the rest of this unfold during the game. All right, let's head over to get the game started. All right, let's draw up her hand size. Like I said, she has a hand size of 6 on this side, 4 on the hero side. Okay, and let's see what we want to keep here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep what I have here. Let's flip over to hero side, and I'd really like to get Ebony Maw stunned as soon as possible. So we're going to play Mockingbird. So let's use our 2 resource generators. I'm going to flip one of them over to the Psy Katana side, leave the other as on the Psy Knife side. And then we'll use Marvel Girl as well, and that makes the 3rd resource. And we'll play Mockingbird, who comes in stunning the enemy. Okay, so Ebony Maw is now stunned. And then we'll go ahead and play Team Building Exercise. I'm going to use these 2 cards to get Team Building Exercise out. All right, and then we'll attack with Psylocke. So she's going to attack for 2 because Psy Katana gets her an extra point of extra attack there. So it does 2 damage, bringing Ebony Maw down from 18 to 16, and then Mockingbird will thwart for 1, removing that threat. Then let's ready up and draw our hand size. Now it's, and we're in the first round. It's Ebony Maw's turn, so we'll add 1 threat to the main scheme, and he's stunned, so he can't attack, and then get his, and that also means, by the way, that his Forced Interrupt does not activate, because it's only when he activates against you that he's going to get rid of, decrease these spell counters here. All right, now let's flip the encounter card. Oh, Quick Strike. Let's see. Let's see, if I defend, then that could be problematic, because then I can't necessarily get rid of Supergiant. Actually, I'm going to let that happen. All right, so Supergiant's going to attack for 2 with the Quick Strike and deal 2 damage to me. So Psylocke goes from 10 hit points down to 8. And then after forced response, after Supergiant attacks and damages a character, that character is stunned. All right, and I'll show you why I allowed that to happen right here. So let's go to round 2 now. I'll keep track of this up here for as long as I actually remember. All right, so we're going to use Team Building Exercise. Psylocke, again, has a Psionic and X-Force trait. And White Queen is a psionic. So we will use Team Building Exercise. For those who may not know, hero action, exhaust Team Building Exercise, play a card from your hand that shares a trait with your hero, reducing its resource cost by 1. So we will reduce her cost by 1 and also use Genius. Oh, 1 second here. Yes, and also use Genius in order to play White Queen. And then White Queen has... and you can only play her if you're X-Force or X-Men, and we are X-Force, has this response: after White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character, and I'm going to discard this stun. All right. And then we'll hold on to these for now. And then let's go ahead and attack. So Psylocke's going to use her Psy Energy Control. It is an interrupt, so we get to do this right up front. When you use one of Psylocke's basic powers, flip one Psy Energy upgrade. So we're going to attack, and that means we're going to flip Psy Katana to its other side here. And that'll, now we have 2 of them. So now she has 3 attack, dealing 3 damage. So 1, 2, 3. And then let's use this Psy Katana and this Psy Katana to play Forge. And then Forge, after Forge has this response, after Forge enters play, search your deck and discard pile for an X-Men or X-Force support and add it to your hand. I don't think we have any down here. No. All right, so let's look in our deck, look at the supports, and we're looking for X-Men. So either Utopia, or there should be one other, or the X-Mansion. I think I'll go with the X-Mansion. Yes, we'll go for it with the X-Mansion right now. Okay, and shuffle that back up. All right, and then we will flip to the alter ego side, and I'm going to use X-Mansion to play Cerebro. Okay, all right, and Cerebro has this ability, play only if your identity has the mutant trait. So we had to get to this side because this is the only side where Betsy Braddock has the mutant trait, or Psylocke. And then now alter ego action, and let me put a little token on that for me. That means it can ready. All right, alter ego action, exhaust Cerebro. We're not going to use this. I'm just saying it so that I can use it in the future. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for an X-Men ally, or search your whole deck instead if you control a psionic character and add that ally to your hand. And Betsy Braddock is a psionic, so we will always be able to search our entire deck for an X-Men ally and bring it out. And as a reminder, we have 5 X-Men allies altogether, one of which is right here, and the other of which is right there. So we still have several. And then there are 2 of them out there. So we still have a couple more left in the deck to grab. All right. Okay, now let's finish off Supergiant here. So we'll go ahead and attack with Mockingbird for 1 damage. And we'll attack with Forge for 1 damage. And then, so Supergiant's defeated. And then we'll go ahead and remove that threat just because I don't want to risk this being defeated yet. Which, that is quite possible here, but I'm planning on starting to confuse him coming up on our next turn. All right, let's go ahead and ready ourselves and draw our hand size of 6. And now it's Ebony Maw's turn. So put 1 thread on the main scheme, and he is now going to scheme, which means that he triggers his Forced Interrupt and removes an invocation counter from each spell in play. So let's remove 1 from here and 1 from here. All right, and this one's going to trigger soon. So this one, after the last one's removed, we're going to discard 1 card at random from our hand and be confused. All right. So now let's, he already schemed. Let's get the encounter card, flip that over. When revealed, remove 1 invocation counter from each spell environment in your play area. So let's do that. Okay, so this one's going to trigger, but let me read the rest first. Okay, the rest does not apply. Okay, so this one triggers. So it's discard 1 card at random from your hand. Okay, so we're going to use, if I do Shift X, so if I do X on any card, it'll discard it. If I hit the X key, I'm going to do Shift X and it'll discard 1 randomly. So Shift X, there you go. So we lost Upside the Head, which is a bummer because I was hoping to be able to use that card. All right. Okay, and then that's it, and you are confused. All right, there we go. Oops, accidentally also stunned us. Okay. All right, and that's it with this card manipulation. All right. Okay, so now it's back to our turn in round 3. All right, so a couple of things here. All right, I think I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and play Professor X, but first we have 3 allies out. So let's go ahead and remove 1 threat with Mockingbird. So she's going to thwart, remove 1 threat, take her consequential, and then be discarded. Okay. And then we'll play Professor X. We'll use Cerebro, actually. And let's grab an ally, and it must be an X-Men ally, so that's only Beak is the only one left. So Beak comes out. And then we'll go ahead and shuffle the deck. All right. And then now we're going to go ahead and play Professor X. So we will use Flurry of Blades, Telepathic Suggestion, and Deadpool to play Professor X, and that's going to confuse the villain. All right. And then for Betsy Braddock, we're going to heal her, so she gets back up to 10 health. And then we will use this Psy Katana. We're using her action here, exhaust 1 Psy energy upgrade, shuffle 1 psionic card from your discard pile into your deck. So we're going to do that right now. And the first one we're going to shuffle back is Marvel Girl. So that's Marvel Girl is a psionic. Okay. And then we're going to, so let's shuffle that. Okay. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with the Psy Katana and get another psionic, and that'll be in the events here. So we have Telepathic Suggestion and Flurry of Blades, so those are both great. I'm going to go for Flurry of Blades and recycle that one back into the deck, shuffle it back into the deck. Okay. All right. And then, oh, that was silly of me. Oh, no. When I did Mockingbird, I removed that threat, but that was a silly thing to do. Okay. Let's put that threat back. Instead, attack for 1, because Professor X can only, of course, remove threat. So we will have Professor X remove threat there. All right. And then we'll just leave Forge in play for now, and White Queen. Actually, I'm going to attack with White Queen and do another point of damage. So bringing him down to 14 now. And he started with, what, 18? All right. And we still have 25 cards in the deck. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And we're just going to stay on this side. I'm going to keep both of these cards. All right, so that's ready. And drop our hand size to 6. And we've got an upside the head. Good. Flurry of Blades. All right, I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Okay, so that's it. Now it's Ebony Maw's turn. And is that the beginning of round 4? Now I have lost track. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was the beginning of round 3 or not. Okay. So I just won't worry about the rounds anymore. Okay, let's put 1 threat on the main scheme. And then he is confused, so he does not activate. And that means this card does not activate. Then we'll get an encounter card. And it is a minion with guard, 1 scheme, 2 attack. And when defeated, give the villain a tough status card. All right. Okay, and that's the end of the round. And so Professor X gets discarded. All right. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually attack with White Queen. And that'll deal 1 damage here to Black Order Infantry, discarding her. And then I'm going to use the Psy Katana. And that, or I'm going to use Betsy Braddock's ability here, exhaust 1 Psy energy upgrade, put a psionic card back into your deck. And I'm going to use White Queen. Is that what I'm going to do? No. I'm going to put Professor X back, actually. Okay, shuffle that deck. All right, and then we're going to use Cerebro, and we're going to grab Professor X. So here he is. Get him back out, shuffle the deck. All right, and then let's flip over to our hero side. And let's see. We're going to use Flurry of Blades. Deal 2 damage to an enemy for each Psy knife you control. And then you can choose an enemy and confuse it. For each Psy katana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage. Okay, so actually that was a mistake. That was a mistake getting Professor X. I really did want White Queen. So hold on a sec. Let's go back. Okay, I'm hitting the back button and it's undoing that. So all right. There we go. So so now it's back in this discard pile. So I wanted White Queen instead. Okay, so it gets shuffled back into the deck. So when I used this ability, I put her into the deck, and then I used Cerebro and grabbed White Queen. There we go. All right, and shuffle the deck. Yeah, didn't think that through all the way. Now we'll move over to our hero side. Okay. And we'll go ahead and use team building exercise plus the energy cards. Oh, actually, no, we'll use Psy Katana plus this double to play Flurry of Blade. Okay. And deal 2 damage to an enemy. So 2 damage there. For each Psy knife you control, choose an enemy and confuse it. So we will confuse. We have one Psy. Oh, when I use this, I meant to turn that over to Psy knife. We're going to use that to confuse Ebony Maw. Not stun, confuse. Okay. All right. For each Psy Katana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. So we will. Let's see. Actually, I should have attacked with Forge to do 1 more point of damage. Okay, there we go. All right, so the first 2 points of damage did defeat this, giving him a tough status now. There we go. And then now we can do, for each Psy Katana, you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it, and that's going to get rid of the tough. Not that we really needed to with that, but a little bit more efficient. All right, I guess it would have worked out the same no matter what, actually. Okay, so now Ebony Maw is confused. Then we are going to, let's see, what can we do? Oh, gosh, yeah, I forgot I had Moira McTaggart too. Boy, all kinds of stuff here. Sorry about that. So I'll just say that I blew that. I wanted to get Moira McTaggart in, of course, so that we could draw a card when we flip to the hero side. I mean, the whole point of this beginning is to get that done. So back when I was on this, side, I would have used Beak and Marvel Girl to get Moira McTaggart in. Okay, and then when I flipped to this side, use Moira McTaggart to draw a card. All right, and then we're going to now attack, and we're going to use this telepathic suggestion. Is that what it's called? Yes. To pay for upside the head. Okay. So we are still confused. All right, so we're paying for that. We have, and as we attack, we can use her interrupt ability to flip one of these upgrades. And we're going to go ahead and flip one of the Psy knives to a Psy katana. So we're attacking now, both are Psy katanas. We're attacking for 3, so 14 down to 11 points. And then we played upside the head. Has this hero response. After your hero makes a basic attack and damages an enemy, confuse that enemy. If that enemy is already confused, stun it instead. So he's already confused, so we will stun him. There we go. All right, so sorry about not thinking those moves through in any kind of meaningful way. Okay. All right, so let's ready up and draw a hand size of 4. And now it's Ebony Maw's turn. All right, so he's going to add 1 threat to the main scheme, and he's stunned, so now he's unstunned, and he'll get out an encounter card. The villain attacks you. All right, so he does actually attack, which means he will trigger his Forced Interrupt. When he activates, remove an invocation counter from all the spells. So remove this one, and now when that triggers, it's deal 2 damage to each character you control. So Psylocke is going to take 2 damage, going from 10 down to 8. Okay. And now he is attacking, and should we defend this? It seems like we should. No, actually, I'm not going to defend here. All right, so I have this psionic redirect in hand. So he's attacking for 2, 3, 4 damage, and so we will use both Psi Katanas, actually 1 Psi Katana and a metal detection to play psionic redirect. Okay. And psionic redirect, when you take any amount of damage from an enemy attack, it has to be from an attack, prevent 2 of that damage, and then for each Psi Katana you control, and I have 2 of them, prevent 2 more additional damage. And so we will do, and we can ignore the rest since we don't have any Psi knives out. Okay, so we prevent all 4 of that damage. Okay, back to our turn, and let's see. We will go ahead and let's go ahead and use this Psi Katana. Oh, yes, use this Psi Katana and use team building exercise to decrease the cost here of White Queen, who is a psionic, so we can do that. And so that's 1, 2, 3, and we'll get White Queen out. And White Queen has this ability. After White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character, so we will discard the Confuse. So we're no longer confused. And that means, do we attack or do we recover the rest of our hit points? Yeah, let's attack for 3. So it goes from 11 down to 8 hit points. And then let's remove the threat. So remove 2 threat with White Queen taking a consequential. Then we'll flip over to our alter ego side. And we're not going to use Cerebro at this point. All right, let's ready up and draw our hand size. Okay. And now it's Ebony Maw's turn. Let's put 1 thread on the main scheme. And he is confused, but now he's no longer confused. And get an encounter card. Attached to Ebony Maw. Prevent all damage to Ebony Maw. Has a forced response after abjuration. Prevents 2 or more damage from a single attack. Has to be an attack. Then discard it. All right. Sounds good. Okay, back to our turn. And let's see, I think we're going to want to start putting some cards back into our deck, maybe. Yes, let's use her alter ego ability here. So we're going to exhaust one of these Psi Katanas and shuffle a psionic card back from our discard pile into the deck. And let's get back to our allies again. We're going to grab Professor X and shuffle him in. Okay, and keep the order on our discard pile. All right. Okay, so now let's use Cerebro to look for one of our X-Men allies. And we only have 1, Professor X. Bring him back out. And shuffle that deck up. All right, so first, I would like to get Children of the Atom in play. However, let's see. Can we just go over to our hero side? It looks like we can. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to our hero side. Oops. Go to our hero side. And we're going to use Moira McTaggart to draw a card. Oh, do we want to put another card in our deck? Hold on. Before we do that, with our Psi Katana, let's see what's in our... Let's see, so first look at the allies. So we could put Marvel Girl back in if we want. And then if we look at the events for the psionic cards, yeah, some prevention events and a flurry of blades for an attack. It'd be nice to be starting to deal some damage here, huh? Okay, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab a flurry of blades. But I want to make sure I can have enough resources here to play what I want to play. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and use the Psi Katana. And let's go to our events, and I'm going to put Flurry of Blades back in the deck. And let's shuffle it, the deck that is. All right, now let's flip over, triggering Moira McTaggart, drawing us a card. Another mental detection. And then we will use, let's see, Oh, I want Children of the Atom in the deck. I'm going to use one of these mental detections to get, oops, wrong card, to get Children of the Atom in play. And I'll just put it up here. All right, so Children of the Atom, max 1 per player. Each X Factor, X Force, and X-Men character you control gains the X Factor, X Force, and X-Men traits. So now Psylocke has all those traits, including the important one I'm caring about right now, which is X-Men. And then let's see. And then now I would like to play Utopia. So we're going to use team building exercise plus another mental detection to get Utopia into play. And then we're going to, let's see, I don't really have to stun him right now. So let's use these 3 cards here to play Professor X. Oh, hold on, that's too early. Hold on, let me undo that. I want to first attack. We have both of these are Psy Katanas, yes. Okay, so let's attack with Psylocke and deal 3 damage, so 8 down to 5. Oh, hold on, can't do that. We have prevent all damage to Ebony Maw. Okay, good. So that attacks for 3, prevents that damage, and it's at least, it's 2 or more, so we can discard this card. All right. Now, we will use these 3 cards to play Professor X, and that will now confuse the villain. Okay, and trigger Utopia. After an X-Men ally enters play, exhaust Utopia, ready an X-Men character. Okay, Professor X is X-Men, and because of Children of the Atom, so is Psylocke. So we're going to ready Psylocke. Professor X is going to remove this last threat, and Psylocke is going to attack for 3 more damage, going from 8 down to 5. And I think I'm just going to save White Queen for now. All right, let's see. No, let's use it up. We're going to attack for 1 more damage with her. Okay, let's ready up and draw our hand size of 4. All right. Ebony Maw's turn, add 1 threat to the main scheme, and he is going to attack. His Force Interrupt triggers, but there are no spell cards in play. Unbelievable. This is the first game where I've had a time when there were no spells in play when he activated. We'll defend with Professor X, doing 2 damage, plus 1 more is 3, defeating Professor X, get an encounter card. When revealed, remove 1 invocation counter. We can't do that. From each spell environment, can't do that. If you have no spell environments in your play area, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a spell environment is discarded. Put that card into play in your play area. That's good. So it's put into play. Okay, so 1, let's see. Oh, that was an advance that we got rid of. Is this one? Nope, that's a treachery. There we go. There's an environment. Put that into play. And it comes with 3 invocation counters. And because it was put into play, the surge does not apply. And this one, when it finishes, it'll exhaust each upgrade I control and stun us. Okay, well, I prefer that doesn't happen. So let's see if we can prevent that from happening. All right. So our turn, and I definitely want Flurry of Blades to be played. And I'd like this to go into play too. So actually, I'm going to use, let's see. I'm going to use these Psy Katanas to put counterintelligence in play. All right. And what I like doing is putting 3 threat on it. So this one, max 1 per player interrupt. When any amount of threat would be placed on the main scheme, discard counterintelligence to prevent 3 of that threat. By the way, let me check the discard pile. We have 1 advance only there. Yes. Okay, so there's still 1 more advance in the deck. All right. And then let's see. We have those Psy Katanas. Yep, so let's go ahead and play this card. So we're going to use Team Building Exercise plus the Power of the Mind to play Flurry of Blades, which is a psionic card. So that's why we can use Team Building Exercise. And that card's going to deal 2 damage to an enemy. Hmm. Let's see. No. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just do that. So 2 damage to an enemy, and then for each Psykatana you control, deal 2 more damage to it. So we're doing 2 more damage, and it should be 2 more. Wait. For each Psykatana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. Oh, we have a Psykatana play. Deal 2 damage to the enemy. That is enough to defeat him. So that defeats him. Now he goes to his stage 3 with 23 hit points now. He still has his Fortune Erupt, but he has this When Revealed. So let's take care of the When Revealed real quickly. Each player discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until they discard a spell card and puts that card into play into the play area. Okay, so discard. Is that one? There it is. Okay, so now we've got another. Ooh, I'll just leave it here. And I'll move this over there. All right, so this one has 3 counters on it, and it'll do 2 damage to each character I control afterwards. Okay, all right, so now I have another Psykatana, and I choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it, so I'm going to deal 2 more damage to him, bringing him down from 23 to 21. So that finishes up Flurry of Blades. I assume I can do that, because it's for each Psykatana, you choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. So we just dealt 2 damage to it. All right. And then we're going to attack with Psylocke as well. So he's down to 21. Yeah, let's attack with Psylocke as well. We have 2 Psykatanas. That's 3 more damage. So 21 down to 18. Okay. All right. And then we'll flip over to our alter ego side. Now let's see which allies are in here. We have Professor X again, but we also have these events. Okay, we're not going to be able to shuffle them in right now. Oh, I want to see the allies actually, because do I have all of our X-Men here? 1 X-Men, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 from White Queen. Yes. So Cerebro is not going to do anything right now. Just to make sure I'm right about that, I'm going to use Cerebro and check on the allies. And yeah, all we have is Nick Fury in there. So shuffle that up. Boy, we should be getting Nick Fury soon. If we don't get him this round, we know he's in the next one because there are just 7 cards left in the deck. All right. And then with that, do we want to use White Queen to take care of this last threat? Yeah, I think I'd like to do that just to keep it safe. Oh, no, we're safe. He's confused and we have counterintelligence. Yeah, let's just leave White Queen out for now. All right, so let's ready up and draw our hand size 6 more cards. And whoa, we got some Flurry of Blades. Okay, we can do some pretty serious damage on our next turn. Okay, all right, nice. Okay, let's add 1 threat to the main scheme. He's confused. So now he no longer is confused. Oops, wrong way. There we go. And he gets an encounter card. He did not activate. Reveal your set-aside Nemesis minion, put it into play, engaged with you. So let's go to Nemesis, and that is Chimera. All right, and she has 1 scheme, 1 attack, and she could get a whole, like, let's see, for each mental resource card you control, she'll get +1 scheme, +X scheme, and +X attack for the total of them. Okay, yeah, and we've got a bunch. All right, and then let's get this card out here too. When revealed, place 1 threat here for each upgrade in play. Oh my gosh. There's 1, 2 upgrades. Oh, that's lucky. Okay. Okay, and it has an acceleration token, which I'm going to put it over here. Okay, and then shuffle the rest into the deck. Okay, and that takes care of Shadow of the Past. And that ends his turn. All right, back to our turn. Okay, let's do this. All right, I think I'm just gonna go for this here. We're not gonna go for defeat yet, but I want to get rid of Chimera and do some damage to Ebony Maw and get him set up to be defeated. All right, so let's flip over to our hero side, and we're going to trigger Moira McTaggart to draw a card. And that gives us Nick Fury. And I don't think I'm ready to play him yet. I want to get some of these Flurry of Blades going. So I'm going to attack with Psylocke. We have 2 Psy Katanas. I'm going to attack with Psylocke, 3 damage to Chimera. All right. And then let's use these Psy Katanas to play one of these Flurry of Blades, or one of them to play anyway. Do I want to confuse an enemy? Let's not do that right now. All right, so let's do one. No, just one of them plus the Power of the Mind to play one of these Flurry of Blades. Oh, actually, not Psy Katana. Let's use Team Building Exercise. There we go. And then plus that Power of the Mind to play Flurry of Blades. So deal 2 damage to an enemy. So that first 2 damage goes here on Chimera, defeating her. And then for each Psy Katana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. So we control 2 Psy Katanas, so we're going to deal 2 damage at 2 damage, so 4 damage altogether to Ebony Maw, bringing her down from 18 to 14. All right, next, let's go ahead and use these 2 Psy Katanas. Plus, so that's 2, 3, 4 to play Nick Fury and draw 3 cards. That's very interesting. Okay. All right, that is very interesting indeed. All right, and let's play another Flurry of Blades here. So we're going to use this Strength and this Psionic Redirect to play Flurry of Blades. And that's going to deal 2 damage, and then for each Psy Katana, 2 more damage. So that's going to be 6 damage altogether, bringing Ebony Maw from 14 down to 8. Okay. All right, and we can't play this last one, but we'll be ready to play it. And we'll be set up pretty well. I think I'm going to ignore the main scheme and everything else. I'm going to do 2 more damage just to really set up Flurry of Blades to finish this game. So let's deal 2 damage here. 1, 2, down to 6. And just to keep things a little bit safe, I will use White Queen to remove 2 threat, and that defeats her. All right, let's ready everybody and draw our hand size. Okay, and this should be the finish. Hopefully he doesn't do anything unforeseen. So first of all, there's an acceleration token here, so 2 threat on the main scheme. Ebony Maw attacks for 2 plus this. Nick Fury will defend that. So that's 3, 4. So that defeats Nick Fury. Sorry. And when he activated, he uses Forced Interrupt to get rid of one of these counters from each of these spells. And then he has he has 1 encounter card. He's going to get another. So here's the first one. The villain schemes. So he's scheming for 3. Oh, hold on. And first he's activating, so he gets rid of 1 of each of those. Okay. All right. And then now let's let him scheme. So he's scheming for 3, 4. We're going to prevent 3 of that with counterintelligence, so one of those gets through. Okay, and then 1 more encounter card. Hero side, When revealed, deal 1 damage to your hero for each spell environment in your play area. If you take no damage this way, this card gains search. But we are taking damage. So there are 2 spells. So that deals 2 damage to Psylocke, bringing her down from 8 to 6. Okay. Oh, I forgot about getting rid of all the threat. Oh, man. I forgot about the points. I want to clear these off. Ah, man. Boy, that hurts me every time near the end when I forget all that. Okay, so I took that damage, and that's it, and now it's my turn. So now oh man, I completely forgot about that. What are we going to do here? Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and use one of these Psy Katanas plus the power of the mind. And when we do that, we're going to flip this to a Psy Knife. So in Power of the Mind, and play Flurry of Blades. So deal 2 damage to an enemy, so 2 damage to Ebony Maw, and choose an enemy, and then, for each Psy Knife you control, choose an enemy and confuse it. So now he's confused. Okay. And then for each Psy Katana you control, choose an enemy, deal 2 damage to it. So we have a Psy Katana, so we deal 2 damage, he's down to 2. Okay. All right. And then with Psylocke, we're going to remove 2 threat. Yes, so we're going to thwart for 2. And I'm going to remove the 2 threat from here. Okay, yeah. I mean, it could be that we'll let this one go and just take that 1 point if we could get this one down by our next turn. I'm going to take the risk here. Okay. All right. And then nothing we can do here. So let's flip over to our alter ego side. And we're going to use this Psy Katana to put a card back into our deck. So first let's check the allies out. Oops, those aren't allies. We could put White Queen back. That's pretty good. And events-wise, we have a Psionic Redirect and Flurry of Blades. Yeah, let's put the ally back. So we'll put White Queen back. All right, so keep this order and shuffle this order. All right, so we were using Betsy Braddock's action here to do that. Okay, now let's use Cerebro to grab a card. Allies, and we use Cerebro to grab an X-Men character. So we could use Marvel Girl, Beak. Oh, Beak's interesting. Okay, actually, yeah, let's use Beak. So we'll grab Beak. Shuffle the deck. And then Beak is going to come into play. We're going to use this Genius to play Beak. And when Beak comes in, he removes 1 threat from a scheme. So we'll remove that 1 threat. And then he's going to thwart and remove 1 more threat here. All right. Okay. All right, and Utopia, after an X-Men ally enters, ready an X-Men, and right now you're mutant and psionic, so yeah, she cannot ready. All right. Okay, so hopefully, like if we get lucky, we can finish this off. Okay. All right. So Ebony Maw's turn. 1 threat on the main scheme, and he's confused, so unconfuse him now. Get 1 encounter card. Oh, 2 threat on the main scheme because this. Okay. And Surge, so we get another spell that's going to have 2 invocation counters on it. And this one here, Black Dwarf gains Overkill, and he has 6 hit points. And so now we have another card that we have to get rid of that has 6 hit points. So that is not great. All right, so let's see what we can do here. All right, I'm going to exhaust this Psy Katana using Betsy Braddock's ability to shuffle a Psionic card back into the deck, and I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these Flurry of Blades. Okay, keep the order and shuffle that. Okay. All right, and then let's use Cerebro to grab an ally, X-Men ally. So we have Professor X and White Queen. And also Marvel Girl. Let's grab Professor X and shuffle the deck. All right. Okay, and let's see. When these trigger, what are they going to do? This is going to stun me and exhaust each upgrade. This one's going to deal 2 damage to each character I control. And this one's going to discard a random card from my hand. And I'm confused. Whew, okay, that one won't trigger right away, but who knows how that'll actually come about. All right, so let's flip over to our hero side. And we're going to attack with Psylocke and allows her to flip this to Psykatana side. Okay, and now she has 3 attack and she deals 3 damage to Black Dwarf. Okay. Then, oh, I forgot to trigger Moira McTaggart when we flipped over, so we draw a card. Endurance, okay. That might not be bad. All right, now let's go ahead and play Professor X. Let's see. All right, let's use team building exercise plus forge and this card here to play Professor X, confusing the villain. Okay, and triggering Utopia to ready Psylocke. Psylocke's going to attack and deal, keep these as Psykatanas and deal 3 damage. And therefore defeating Black Dwarf. Okay. And then Professor X is going to remove 3 threat from this scheme, therefore defeating that. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, let's use X Mansion to play Endurance, give us 3 extra hit points there. Okay. That's my symbols for that. Okay, so from 6 up to 9. And then I think at this point we're not going to need Upside the Head, so we're going to get rid of that. And I'm going to use Beak to reduce this threat by 1. And that defeats Beak. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I could have used Psykatana to play that instead. All right, I should have used that. Yes, I should use that. My bad. Upside the Head stays here. Okay, and I use this. And when I did that, I'm actually going to flip it over to the Psyknife side. Okay. All right, and then I am going to get rid of Upside the Head anyway. And then I'm going to keep these 2 cards, right? So a Hero Interrupt here and a Psionic Redirect here. All right. So let's flip those over so that I know to use that on the other side. Let me look at this one again. When you reveal a card from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects. For each Psykatana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. For each Psyknife you control, choose a scheme and remove 1 threat from it. Interesting. Okay. All right, we'll see where we end up on this. Okay, let's ready up and draw our hand size. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Okay. All right, so let's add 1 threat to the main scheme. He's confused, but he's not stunned, so he's going to attack, but as he attacks, he's going to trigger these spells. So each one's going to lose 1 of their counters. Here's the first one. Exhaust each upgrade you control. So this upgrade and this upgrade, any other upgrades. Okay. You are stunned. So she is stunned. That one's done. Then this one. Deal 2 damage to each character you control. So she takes 2 damage. This says, not that one, this one. When you would take any amount of damage from an enemy attack. That is not an attack, so we can't do anything about that. So we take 2 damage, down to 7, and Professor X takes 2 damage, getting defeated. Okay. That one's gone, and this one still has 1 left. All right, and so now he's attacking for 2 plus this card here. We're going to take that hit. So it's plus 3 more. A hit of 2 plus 3 is 5. Oh, that was a big hit. So 7 down to 2. All right. Oh, but that damage, I can prevent that. Hold on. 7 down to 2. Okay. All right. So the psionic redirect we could play. Okay, we're not going to prevent that damage. We're going to, so 7 down to 2. Okay, so it gets 1 encounter card. Let's see what he gets. The villain attacks you. Bah! Oh, wait. We can prevent that with this one, right? When you reveal a card from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects. Okay. And then for each side katana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. For each side knife you control, choose a scheme and remove 1 threat from it. Okay, so in that order, which means we would defeat him and we wouldn't get full 10 points, but at this point, it's probably worth just ending the game. All right, so I think that is what we're going to do here. We can also prevent quite a bit of damage, but I think that's not worth the risk. So we're going to finish this game right now. So let's play Telepathic Suggestion. We're going to use Flurry of Blades and Angel to play Telepathic Suggestion. Here we go. When you reveal a card from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects. There we go. We canceled it. For each side katana you control, choose an enemy and deal 2 damage to it. So we have 1 side katana. We deal 2 damage. Boom. He is defeated. And then it says for each side knife you control, choose a scheme and remove 1 threat from it. Okay, but I assume as soon as we defeated him, we don't get to do this. Somebody can tell me if that's true or not, but I'm just going to assume that that last threat, that doesn't happen, that last part doesn't happen. Although I do get to play the whole card, don't you? You're supposed to get to play the whole card. I don't know. I'll just play it conservatively, and if somebody knows exactly how that should be interpreted, I'm going to assume the game's over now, and I'm left with 2 threat, which means by our rules, I should get 8 points. I don't have any minions in play, and there aren't any side schemes in play, but I have 2 threat on the main scheme, so instead of getting the 10 points, I get 10 minus 2, or 8 points. All right, and that's going to end the game, and hope you enjoyed that. Everybody have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next one.